Thanos didn't just win the fight on Titan, he studied the man he was beating. Tony showed up with the absolute peak of his life's work. Nanotech armor that could invent new weapons mid-sentence, adapt on the fly, and push human engineering further than it had ever gone. Thanos still walked through it like it was mild inconvenience, stabbed him with his own technology, came within a breath of ending everything. Then Doctor Strange makes the trade to keep Tony breathing, and Thanos drops the quietest, most unsettling line in the entire movie. "You're not the only one cursed with knowledge." That wasn't a villain monologue. That was one isolated genius recognizing another. Both of them had spent years seeing the train wreck coming while everyone else was still arguing about the schedule. Tony after New York, the panic attacks, the visions of the team dying, the insomnia that only got better when he built more armor. People called him reckless and paranoid. He called it pattern recognition. He'd already looked through a wormhole and seen what was waiting out there. He couldn't unsee it, so he never stopped preparing. Thanos carried the exact same weight, just on a cosmic scale. He watched civilizations destroy themselves through overpopulation and decided the only solution was a universe-wide hard reset. Extreme? Absolutely. Motivated by the same lonely foresight? Also yes. Two men cursed with the ability to see too far ahead, isolated by the knowledge that almost nobody else shared. Joe Russo put it simply, Thanos is a futurist the same way Tony is. Same awareness, same burden of being the smartest person in the room who also has to live with what that knowledge demands. Different methods, same core drive, prevent the catastrophe no one else believes is coming. And Thanos already knew exactly who Tony Stark was long before Titan, the Battle of New York. Loki and the Chitauri were supposed to take the Space Stone and plant a flag. Earth had no real answer for a cosmic invasion. The Avengers were still figuring out how to be a team. Then one unpowered human grabbed a nuclear missile, flew it through the wormhole, deleted the mothership, and dropped back through the portal like he'd just finished a particularly dramatic coffee run. Thanos never forgot the name of the mortal who personally canceled his invasion. Not the god, not the green rage monster. The engineer in the flying metal suit. That's why when they finally met face to face, Tony was the first person in the entire film to make the Mad Titan bleed. 4 Infinity Stones later, Thanos still had to put in real work. Russo later confirmed what the fight already showed. Almost nobody threatened the agenda. Except Stark. There was an existential connection, the one mind that might eventually figure out how to stop him. Doctor Strange saw 14,605 possible futures. Exactly one of them ended in a win. In that single path, he hands over the Time Stone to keep Tony alive. Because without Stark, the board stays permanently broken. Endgame proved the point in the most brutal way possible. Time travel solved in one night. A gauntlet capable of handling Infinity Stones. A mid-fight stone heist using nanotech. The final snap that erased Thanos and his entire army. Tony changed the MCU more than any Infinity Stone. Most people think the Infinity Stones shaped the MCU. They didn't. The person who changed the Marvel Universe more than any cosmic artifact was Tony Stark. Think about it. He created the first Iron Man suit in a cave, revealing superheroes to the modern world. His technology led to Ultron, which eventually gave birth to Vision. He recruited Spider-Man, helped create the Avengers, discovered time travel, built the Nano Gauntlet, and made the sacrifice that erased Thanos forever. The Infinity Stones gave people power. Tony Stark changed history. Long after his death, the consequences of his decisions continued to reshape the MCU. Every major event traces back to something Tony built, inspired, or sacrificed for. And now Dr. Doom has done the homework, with zero intention of repeating Thanos' mistake. If you're into this kind of long-form Marvel breakdown, hit like and subscribe so the algorithm doesn't quietly bury the next one. Doom doesn't study battles, he studies winners. Theory. If Dr. Doom is as intelligent as the comics portray him, he wouldn't spend his time studying how Thanos lost a fight. He'd study why the Avengers won. Every battle leaves behind information. Every victory exposes a weakness. Doom doesn't need to overpower the Avengers if he can understand the decisions that made them successful in the first place. And one name keeps appearing at the center of every impossible victory. Ascended, Tony Stark. To someone like Doom, that's not just history, it's a blueprint. That's a massive opening. The team no longer has their problem solver, their late night miracle worker, their guy who could invent a solution before the rest of them finished arguing about the problem. Doom sees the gap and then decides to fill it with a mirror. That's why the face looking back at them belongs to Tony Stark. Same face, same voice, same image. Not for shock value, for psychological demolition. The Avengers never replaced their leader. When Tony died, the Avengers lost far more than a teammate. They lost the person who made impossible decisions before anyone else even understood the problem. Steve Rogers inspired people. Thor brought power. Doctor Strange protected reality, but Tony solved problems nobody else could solve. Even years after his sacrifice, his absence still shapes the team. Every new crisis reminds them of the person who usually had the answer. That's the kind of loss you can't replace with another superhero. Doom wins with minds before muscle. Most villains try to defeat the Avengers physically. Dr. Doom rarely thinks that small. In the comics, Doom is at his most dangerous when he controls the battlefield before the fight even begins. He manipulates politics, technology, alliances, and emotions. By the time his enemies realize what's happening, they're already reacting to his plan instead of executing their own. That's what makes him different. Strength can be matched, intelligence can be challenged, but manipulation forces heroes to question themselves. If the MCU embraces that side of Dr. Doom, the Avengers won't just be fighting another powerful enemy. They'll be fighting someone who understands exactly how heroes think and knows how to turn those strengths against them. The Avengers aren't walking into another alien invasion or another god-level fistfight. They're walking into a haunted house that looks, sounds, and moves exactly like the person who built them in the first place. That is the cleanest, cruelest strategy the MCU has ever put on the table, and it might actually work.